Mashallah, how do I deal with this?
What?
The literature told me that for this reaction, I should get a solid. So I could filter it out, I get a precipitate, dry that down. But the filter paper didn't seem to have much solid, and in my mother liquor, I concentrated that down, and then using the rotavap, and now you can see it's kind of an oily, slick, gummy liquid. So I feel like this is my true product right there, and it's just odd. I thought I would get more of a powdery solid.
Yeah, I can explain. So, let's explain. So that is a good question actually. So according to your literature, it says you should get the precipitation in the reaction, and then you will filter it and wash it with the ether, and then you will get your solid product there, right? So, but you are getting like this kind of like gummy material. So specifically for this reaction, I can explain one thing. So when you convert your product, so you used a, like whatever it is, suppose it is a starting material A, and you used diethyl ether dry, anhydrous diethyl ether as a solvent for the reaction, okay? And in that case, this starting material A was soluble in the diethyl ether, okay? That means, but once the all kind of reagent you added, once the final reaction formed, so your product will produce something like B that decrease the solubility in the ether, because that product is a little different than the A, okay? So since solubility decreased, that should be solidified or like crush out and like as a solid, and you are filtering the things and you will get the solid in the filter paper. So you should get the solid as a filter paper. That's the thing. Now, your procedure also said wash your precipitate with the diethyl ether. So that is one important part here. So remember that you are setting the reaction in diethyl ether. That means your starting material is soluble in diethyl ether. And once the reaction done, you're filtering and washing with the diethyl ether means whatever the remaining unreacted A is there in the crude, that will be washed out with the diethyl ether. But your product should be solid there. But now you're saying you filtered, you didn't get anything in the filter paper, or like very tiny amount of the solid, but mostly is there, and you checked the TLC or something other things, and you think like there is mostly the compound. It can happen. Why? Remember that when you are doing reaction and you are using any liquid reagent here, okay? So suppose you use one liquid reagent, like liquid 1 reagent, that is like kind of oily, and after sometimes you use another liquid reagent, like kind of another liquid like oily. So in that case, if one of the liquid you are using like kind of 1 equivalent exactly, or 1.5 equivalent, so that will be used up in the reaction, so that will not be any problem. But if one of them liquid you are using more than 1 equivalent, you require like maybe 5 or 10 or something equivalent, so in that case, whatever that liquid required to react, that will be reacting, but remaining liquid will be staying as a oil, and that will assist to dissolve your compound in presence of that liquid with the same solvent. Like now, if you're using ether, that ether can dissolve your compound, produced compound in presence of the other liquid also, because that is oily, and that oil always try to protect other solid not to come solidified. You understand what I'm saying? That means the other liquid present in the reaction also always associate to stay in the liquid form. So your product was in the liquid form with the other liquid. If you use any one of that excess, that will normally go to the solvent, and that's why you're getting your product as a gummy liquid from there. So in that case, you have to try many other things. Like first of all, try to do one thing like ninja technique. I'm going to tell you now. That is, as I'm saying from the literature, they say like they filtered their product with the ether. So what I'm gonna do, that liquid will not be solidified in cold situation, but if I use the same solvent, like you can see here, I'm cooling down the diethyl ether with the dry ice, okay? And then you can add that liquid diethyl ether there, and in that case the liquid part will be dissolved, and if you have the product there with a cold temperature, it may not dissolve completely. In that case, maybe you can get solid back. If it is not, then you have to, you see the solid here. Do you see there?
Yeah.
So you have to filter quickly to remove that liquid part, the oily part. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you get the solution?
Yeah. So right
Okay.
now, filter.
Yeah. So
thank you. Okay.
You can do one more thing. Like you don't need to be hurry or rush. So just add a little bit, and then keep that so that ether is actually cool to like lower than the room temperature. So in that case, you can clearly see now some solid here. Like if you see here, is it visible there?
Yeah.
So you see the solid forming.
Yeah.
So in that case, I would put a little bit more time in the in cooling system, and try to scratch it.
Oh.
Okay, with the solvent, like that is called trituration. So whenever you have any gummy liquid reagent, you are adding in excess, even your compound supposed to be solid, that may not be solid, or it may not stay solid, and when you are trying to filter, it can be washed out with the solvent with other liquid reagent. That's the thing, and that's why sometimes you can do cooling down the system, do the trituration, and then you will get the solid and immediately filter it, and once it is done filtered, then that solid will not go back to liquid again. Does it answer your question?
Yep. It's perfect. Thank you.
Okay.